Hi everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse and welcome to, I almost said March, April's new releases. It's another month with so many books coming out, but what's super interesting about this month, I have a lot of books to talk about and there's a lot of new to me authors. So there's a handful of familiar faces, there's not a lot of thrillers. I feel like the thrillers are, I don't know, maybe being reserved for the summer, but this is going to be an interesting list. So a lot of books I'm very excited about. I'm super excited to find some new people. I'm like scanning the list. Maybe it's like a 50-50 split. People I know, people I don't. So let's just get right into it because there's a ton. Let's get started with April 1st. The first book is by a known to me author. No sooner do I say it, is this what's going to happen. This is The Last Session by Julia Bartz. She wrote The Writing Retreat, which I want to say came out in 2023. Isolated thriller, slow burn. A group of writers get an opportunity to do this writing retreat with a very famous writer, and things go really off the rails. I really enjoyed it. And that book definitely was different than my expectations in that she did things I wasn't expecting. I really liked it. So I'm very excited for this one. And this is pitched as a white-knuckled, locked-roomed thriller about a social worker who, after coming face to face with her dark past, must infiltrate a mysterious wellness center in the deserts of New Mexico. So similar isolated vibe. Love that. It says, when a catatonic woman shows up at the psychiatric unit, social worker Thea swears she knows her from somewhere. She's shocked to discover the patient holds a link to a traumatic time in her past. Upon regaining lucidity, the patient claims she can't remember the horrific recent events that caused her brain to shut down. Thea's at a loss, especially when the patient is ripped away from her as suddenly as she appeared. So now Thea is trying to find her. We are in southwestern New Mexico. We are at the point where I'm like, do I want to read anything else? There's a remote center. A charismatic couple holds a controversial monthly retreat. And time is running out. And if she stays till the last session, she too might lose her mind or worse. So this sounds real interesting. I feel like it's like a little bit kind of sort of not really The Silent Patient. And then who knows what's going to happen after that. Love this cover. Very intrigued. Really enjoyed her writing. And there are so many reviews about this one. It says twisty, sexy, full of surprises, a must read. On and on it goes. So here we go. First book. Okay. The next two books I have were both gifted to me very kindly from Berkeley. And the first one is Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This is the second in the Vera Wong series. If you guys have been here, you know I am obsessed with her adult thrillers. Love them, love them, love them. Dark and Messed Up, all of my favorite things. I've also read some of her YA, and this is going to be the first one of her cozies that I read, and I'm really excited for it. I've heard so many great things about it, and I have no doubt it's going to be incredible. I'm such a big fan of her writing. So this one, as I said, second in the Vera Wong series. Very confident. You can jump into it right away. And it says, Vera Wong is my new favorite sleuth from El Casamano. So I imagine it's going to have a bit of a Finley vibe. Vera Wong is obviously a little bit senior than Finley. So in the first book, there was a mystery. I don't want to read about it in case you guys haven't read it, so you won't get spoiled for anything. So in this one, she has come across a distressed young woman who is obviously in need of kindly guidance. The young woman is looking for a missing friend. So Vera is cat-sitting for her son and his new girlfriend, and she finds some information about the death of an enigmatic influencer who also happens to be the friend that the young woman was looking for. So Xander is the online influencer and had it all. A parade of private jets, fabulous parties with socialites, and a burgeoning career as a social media influencer. The only problem is, after his body is fished out of the water at Mile Rock Beach, the police can't seem to actually identify him. Who was Xander Lynn? Nobody knows. Every contact is a dead end. Everybody claims to have not known him, even his parents. What? So Vera is determined to solve Xander's murder. After all, doing so would be a very big favor for her son's girlfriend. I'm trying not to say stuff from the first book, just in case. So anyway, high expectations. Love Jessie Q. Sutanto. Very excited about this one. Go Vera. And then the second book I have is by Beth O'Leary, and this is Swept Away. So I read The Flat Share years ago when it came out, and I remember it being like quite quite the hype, I would say, around the flat share. And that was, it's a great premise. It was two people who share a flat, but one of them is there during the day and one of them is there at night because they work different shifts, so they never actually see each other, kind of fall in love. It's a great book. So on this one, it says, lost at sea with your one-night stand. This is interesting. Two strangers find themselves stranded at sea together. What if you were lost at sea with your one-night stand? What if Audrey keeps repeating the same line? Okay, Zeke and Lexi thought it would just be one night of fun. They had no intentions of seeing each other ever again. Zeke is only in town for a few days to buy back his late father's houseboat, and Lexi has no time for dating when she needs to help take care of her best friend's daughter. Going back home with a stranger seems like a perfect escape from the problems, but a miscommunication in the dark, foggy night means no one tied the houseboat to the dock, and the next morning Zeke and Lexi realize all they can see is miles and miles of water. I love it. I love it. With just a few provisions on the idle boat, Zeke and Lexi must figure out how to get back home. But aside from their survival, they're facing another challenge. Because when you're stuck together for days on end, it gives you a lot of time to get to know someone and to fall in love with them. So they're going to get swept away. Oh, it just looks fun. Fun, fun, fun. So excited, excited, excited. Thank you, Berkeley. Thank you, thank you. This is definitely going to be like a romance-heavy spring. And the next one is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Also, You're Welcome / Sorry. Now Taylor Swift is going to be in everybody's head. It says, there's no such thing as a perfect guy, but Xavier Rush comes disastrously close. I do not come disastrously close to saying my words right. He is a gorgeous veterinarian giving Greek god vibes, all while cuddling a tiny kitten. Immediate yes. That is until Xander opens his... Xander was in the last book. That is until Xavier opens his mouth and proves that even sculpted gods can say the absolute wrong thing. Oof, like really wrong. Of course, there's nothing Samantha loves more than proving an asshole wrong, unless of course he can admit he made a mistake. But after one incredible and seemingly endless date, Samantha is forced to admit the truth, that her family is in crisis and any kind of relationship would be impossible. Samantha begs Xavier to forget her, to remember their night together as a perfect moment, as crushing as that may be. Only no amount of distance or time is enough to forget what's between them. And the only thing better than one single perfect memory is to make a life and even a love worth remembering. So it says all it takes is one date for two people to know they're perfect for each other. So very much like kind of maybe swept away. We'll find out. We will find out. I really do enjoy Abby's books. I'm a little bit behind on hers, but I do very much enjoy her. She writes a great mix of, I feel like, humor, wit, weightiness, steam, great characters, complicated relationships, real life issues, relatable. She's very Emily Henry bucket to me, very Carly Fortune bucket to me. So I do like my people complicated and messed up and, you know, having to work for it sometimes. So we'll see what's going to happen. We'll see what's going to happen, but I'm excited for this one. First new to me author. This is When She Was Gone by Sarah Foster. And we're going to get a little thrillery. Yay, yay. So it says, was she taken or did she run? Rose once walked away from her daughter. Now she may be the only one who can save her. Former London police officer Rose Campbell has been estranged from her daughter Lou for almost a decade. But when Lou disappears from a remote beach in Western Australia and the police suspect her of kidnapping the two young children in her care, Rose is asked to help bring Lou home. This is the final case in DSS Mal Blackwood's illustrious career, and there's a lot riding on it. The missing children are heirs to the Fisher property empire. I love some rich kids. And while their multimillionaire grandfather is breathing down Blackwood's neck, the media storm is intensifying. Faced with a deluge of evidence and accusations, Blackwood doesn't know who he can trust. So Rose arrives in Australia. I'm having a very hard time talking today, you guys. Rose arrives in Australia intent on proving her daughter's innocence, but how can she be sure of it when she's no longer part of Lou's life? Meanwhile, as Blackwood begins to expose the Fisher's secrets, the investigation takes a dark turn. Shadows of the past gather around the Fishers and Rose, and soon it's clear that every hour is critical. What happened to Lou and the children, and can Rose and Blackwood find them in time? I also very much love this cover. I'm very intrigued. So Sarah Foster, it says best-selling author of You Don't Know Me. I am feeling like I am missing something here. She has written a ton of books. I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued to have a new to me author. Great reviews, lots to dig into, and you know me. I love, oh my God, you know what I love? Friend of the channel, Lisa Kusel, author of The Widow on Dwyer Court, has a blurb on this. An incredible fast-paced read. I felt like I was perched on the edge of a boat during a swift water rescue, watching events unfold before my eyes in quick succession. Simple, unencumbered writing style, nothing needless between the pages, also heavy themes handled with exquisite touch. If ever there was a good reference, let's give it to Lisa, because I love Lisa's books, so I am taking her recommendation. This just bumped even further up my list. Thanks, Lisa. So, Sarah Foster, tune in, check her out. Next up is The Fourth Girl by Wendy Corsi Staub. I want to say I have read her books, I feel like in the early 2000s, maybe. Her name screams so familiar to me, so I immediately stopped and checked this out. This is a Haven Cliff book. It says book number 1. On the anniversary of a teen's disappearance, three friends face a deadly hometown reunion. This is my wheelhouse. Reluctant return home, past and present mysteries. I'm not that I want a teen to disappear, but in a book, I love it when people disappear and then the friends have to deal with it. So on prom night nonetheless, Caroline Winterfield walked away from the ruins of an abandoned mansion called Haven Cliff and into the woods, never to be seen again. I mean, I'm really sorry, Caroline, but I love it for us. Only her 3 best friends know what really happened, but a secret is a secret and a promise is a promise, even when it shatters lifelong friendships. I love that. A secret is a secret and a promise is a promise. On the 25th anniversary of that night, Midge, Kelly, and Talia reunite at Haven Cliff, now a gleaming architectural jewel. But they aren't alone. Someone is watching. Someone who knows what really happened to Caroline, and to the man who now lies dead a stone's throw from where she was last seen. Yes. Police Detective Midge knows she's dealing with a murder the moment she sees the item clutched in his lifeless hand. Only 3 other people in the world could grasp its significance. That means Kelly and Talia are either involved or in danger because Caroline is long gone. Or is she? I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So sign me up. This is an Amazon's first reads, which means I already have it. So I'm excited for this one. Yes, please. Another new to me author, this is All That Life Can Afford by Emily Everett. I am also extremely intrigued by this book. This is pitched as a taut and lyrical coming-of-age debut about a young American woman navigating class, lies, and love amid London's jet-set elite. I love rich people behaving badly. I'm in for it. It says, I would arrive blank like a sheet of notebook paper and write myself new. Love that. I love it. Anna first fell in love with London at her hometown library. It's Jane Austen Ball's a far cry from her life of food stamps and hand-me-downs. But when she finally arrives after college, the real London is a moldy flat and the same paycheck-to-paycheck grind. That fairy tale life still out of reach. But then Anna meets the Wilders, who fly her to Saint-Tropez to tutor their teenage daughter. Swept up by the Sphinx-like elder sister, Anna soon finds herself plunged into a heady whirlpool of parties and excess, a place where confidence is a birthright. There she meets 2 handsome young men, one who wants to whisk her away into his world in a chauffeured car, the other who sees through Anna's struggle to outrun her past. It's like she stepped into the pages of a glittering new novel, but what will it cost her to play the part? I believe this is a Pride and Prejudice retelling. I am not an expert on Pride and Prejudice, but it says, sparkling with intelligence and insight, it peels back all the glossy layers of class and privilege, exploring what it means to create a new life for yourself that still honors the one you've left behind. This reminds me, I want to say Girls of Summer. Is that right, by Katie Hayes? Hold on. Not Katie Hayes. The Girls of Summer by Katie Bishop is what this is reminding me of. I read that 2 years ago, I want to say it came out. I really enjoyed it. That was like a group of friends who are backpacking and they wind up on a Greek island, and there's like these rich, very interesting people, and they're working as waitresses, and they kind of get swept up into this life. It's giving me that kind of a vibe. I am very, very interested in this one. I like interested to the point that I might do the rogue pre-order the book kind of crazy. So we'll see. Check back and find out if I wind up pre-ordering this one. Something completely in my wheelhouse is Follow Me. This is by Elizabeth Rose Quinn, and this is pitched as Heathers meets Stepford Wives. I'm like, you had me at Heathers, the end. It is creepy and frighteningly funny dark thriller about a woman who will do anything to find her missing sister, even pretend to be one of them. After her twin sister Kiara goes missing at a momfluencer weekend, Adrian Shaw will find her no matter what it takes. They may have been on the outs, but no one comes for her sister and gets away with it. It's been a year. The authorities have no answers, and her brother-in-law is useless in that matter. It's time for Adrian to take the case into her own hands. Following Kiara's last footsteps, Adrian goes undercover, infiltrating the same influencer retreat as the last thing she wants to be, an Insta-mommy. It's reminding me of Jessie Cusitanto. I love it. The remote ranch in Northern California is certainly welcoming, in a cult-adjacent kind of a way. A charismatic leader, communal crafts, fixed smiles, and a lot of dead eyes. Going on a gut instinct and chasing a wild theory that Kiara came here and never left, Adrian is determined to uncover the truth before the too perfect to believe women figure out who Adrian really is. A threat to be eliminated. Bum! Very excited for this one. Stay tuned. I'm going to be reading it, and I'll let you guys know what I think. But, I mean, Heather's dark humor, all the things, cult-like, yes. We are going to move into April 8th. The first book I have is The Maid's Secret. This is by Nita Prose, and this is book number 3 in the Molly the Maid series. I have read both of the books in this. I very much enjoy this series. I do feel like there's a lot in here that's going to give away stuff from the first 2 books, so I kind of don't want to say too much of it. But we have a daring art heist at the Regency Grand, which is the hotel where Molly the Maid works at. So the first book is The Maid, the second is The Mystery Guest, and it says Molly's life is about to change in ways she never could have imagined. So I guess we're going to get, I really don't want to read stuff, because again, if you guys haven't read the first couple books, but this is like a cozy mystery. I thought I could sneak that in before the battery died, but no such luck. So, as I was saying, very much enjoy the Molly the Maid series. They are whodunits, like I said, kind of on the cozy side. There's no real violence on the page. There's no cursing, things like that. And Molly is definitely very particular. She is very committed to solving things. She's just such a sweet, sweet woman. I just very much enjoy them. There's just something about these books that I really like. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen in this one. But wedding, heist, and a secret. So tune in. Another debut we have, This Is Not a Game by Kelly Mullen. Murder Martinis, a grandmother-granddaughter sleuthing duo. Dachshunds? How do you say that for the dog? Dachshunds? I feel like that's not right. There's 2 of them. And a glamorous island manor. Am I going to Google how to pronounce that? I am. Dachshunds?
Dachshunds.
That doesn't feel right. Dachshund. Dachshund? 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 You guys know what I mean. You also know I can't say the easy words. Okay. Anyway, Widow Mimi lives on idyllic Mackinac Island, where cars are not allowed and a Gibson martini with 3 onions at the witching hour is compulsory. Her estranged granddaughter Addie is getting over the heartbreak of not only being dumped by her fiance Brian, jerk, but also being cut out of the deal for the brilliantly successful video game Murderscape that they invented together, with Addie doing most of the heavy lifting. Brian, you're awful. You're awful, Brian. So when Mimi gets an invitation from local socialite Jane Ireland, a 70-something narcissist who's having a salacious affair with her son-in-law, to a charity auction, so she's getting invited to a charity auction, Grandma invites Addie, but Mimi doesn't tell her that a blackmail threat from Jane looms over the party's invitation. What is happening here? Once they arrive, a big storm rolls in, perfect, trapping everybody in the mansion, doubly perfect. And then we have a murder, and Mimi and Addie's strained relationship is put to the test because they must team up together to narrow down the suspects. And somebody is playing a deadly game, and they might not survive the night. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't know about those dogs, but hopefully I don't have to say that word again. I love it though. I don't love Brian though. What a jerk, man. This sounds fun. Grandmother, granddaughter, sleuthing team, new author. I'm in. I'm telling you, this month is going to be fun, you guys. This is going to be a fun month of books. Okay, up next, this is actually the paperback release. So this is Desperate Deadly Widows by Kimberly Bell, Lane Fargo, Kate Holohan, and Vanessa Lilly. This was an Audible original that came out last year, and now the paperback is coming out now. So this is the second book in the first one was Young Rich Widows, which originally was like only ever meant to be an Audible original, and they turned that into a paperback as well. So same thing here. I have not yet had the chance to read this one, but I really enjoyed the first one. So 4 authors that I very much enjoy came together to write the 4 women in this book, and it is set in the 80s, set in Rhode Island. And it says the widows are back. Big hair, bigger lies collide in the highly anticipated follow-up, where nothing is more dangerous than a widow with nothing left to lose. So 2 years after a plane carrying 4 mafia-affiliated law firm partners exploded over the Atlantic, along with the cushy lives of their once wealthy wives. I don't know how much I want to say after that. That was the premise of the first book. But that was how they all met each other because their partners all blew up in that plane. So that was a fun one. We have, let's see, they are back. There is everything on the line. There is some implications in, someone gets implicated in a mysterious murder, and they are going to need to figure it all out. I don't want to tell you too much, but I really had a good time with this series. The audiobook was fantastic. There were multiple narrators. I would recommend maybe giving the audiobook a go as I sit here and tell you the paperback's coming out, or give the paperback a go. But love these ladies, and I think this is just going to be like a very fun time. Okay, we have a complete 180 and the only nonfiction book on this list. This is Fahrenheit 182 by Mark Hoppus in conjunction with Dan Ozee, but Mark Hoppus, who was one of the founders of Blink-182. This is his memoir, and it says it's the story of an angst-filled kid from the desert navigating the chaos of his parents' bitter divorce and searching for his place in the world. Each move across the country was a chance to reinvent himself, switching identities from dork to goth to skate punk, and eventually meeting his best friend, who just so happened to be his musical soulmate. With sharp humor and raw honesty, Fahrenheit 182 takes readers through Mark's formative years as a latchkey kid in the 80s, hooked on punk rock, skateboards, and MTV. Along the way, Mark reflects on his long battle with anxiety, his celebrated career with Blink-182, and his public fight with cancer in a voice that's both relatable and unmistakably his own. More than just a memoir for Blink-182 fans, funny, smart, deeply human story for anyone who struggled, reinvented themselves, wanted to quit, but kept going. I was definitely a Blink-182 fan. I feel like one of the last big concerts I went to was Blank and No Doubt. Not to date myself, but there we go. But I always loved their music. I still listen to their music. I have like a bit of a love affair with them and a bit of a hardcore crush on Mark Hoppus. So I'm definitely intrigued about this one. I listened to the Travis Barker memoir a few years ago, and I will definitely be tuning into this one. I'm very curious. Very, very curious. Maybe there'll be some tea. We'll find out. Rolling into April 15th. Now we have a super well-known author. This is The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose. This is the sequel to The Perfect Marriage, which was like her self-published book that took off and like took everything by storm. And she is such an interesting author to me about not just like her books that I very much enjoy, which genre hop, but how she was like so instrumental in building her own career and created like such interesting online social media posts and personality and videos, and like created such a community. I find her very, very fascinating, and I also very much enjoy her books. So I'm a little bit not caught up. I haven't read Home Where the Bodies Are yet. It's here. I went back and I bought like her first, like I would say her first series, because I mean, I guess this is kind of a series now, but I need to get back into her. I very much enjoy her humor and her writing. So I read The Perfect Marriage. I don't know if that was like the third book of hers that I read or the second. One of Us is Dead is the first book I read. And I'm trying to think if I read You Shouldn't Have Come Here next. Anyway, I was not part of the early hype train with Geneva Rose. I was late to the party and happy to be here. And I'm intrigued about this one. So I did enjoy The Perfect Marriage. I enjoy her dark humor. This is one of those books where also I don't want to say too much because if you haven't read book one, obviously this is going to be spoilers. So very high level. It is Till Death Do Us Part, Yours Not Mine. So it's been 11 years since book number one. You know what? Let me just see what the blurb on book number one was, because I don't want to assume anything, because we know what happens when you do that. Okay. We have book number one is Sarah Morgan is one of the best criminal defense attorneys in Washington, D.C. With a perfect case record and having made named partner by the age of 35, life is going exactly as planned. She cannot say the same for her husband, Adam. He is a failed author who's grown to resent his wife's meteoric success, as he feels it's been coming at the expense of their relationship. So Adam has been having an affair, and he's been keeping it secret, but everything changes when his mistress's body is found at their lake house, and Adam is arrested and Sarah winds up defending him. So that's the whole premise of that Perfect Marriage. So she winds up defending her husband in the murder of his mistress. I love it. Love that premise. So here we are 11 years later, and I kind of feel like I don't want to tell you anything else. Yeah, it's 11 years later. Go forth and enjoy. Special editions of this book, all the hype, all the rage. And you don't need me to tell you it's going to be a kind of a big deal when this one comes out. So have at it. Have fun. Is it Dotsons? Dawsons? Oh my God, it's still going to bother me. The next book is The Guilt Pill, and this is by Samya Dave. And it says, what if women could get rid of their guilt? Maya Patel has it all. Her own startup, a sexy doting husband, influencer status, and now a new baby. Or does she have it all? Because behind closed doors, Maya's drowning. Her newborn's taking a toll on her marriage, her best friend won't return her calls, and her company's hanging on by a thread. The worst part, it's all her fault. If she could just be a better boss, a better mother, a better wife, a better daughter, a better friend, maybe she wouldn't feel so guilty all the time. Enter #girlboss Liz Anderson, who introduces her to the Guilt Pill, an experimental supplement that erases female guilt. At first, it's the perfect antidote to Maya's self-blame and imposter syndrome, and she finally becomes the unapologetic woman she's always wanted to be. But there's a catch. Of course, there's a catch. For Maya to truly have it all, she needs to be ready to risk it all. And as Maya falls deeper and deeper down the pill's guilt-free rabbit hole, her growing ruthlessness could threaten everything she's built for herself and the family she's worked so hard to protect. A feminist exploration of motherhood, race, ambition, and how the world treats women who dare to go after everything they want. I find this very intriguing. What if women could get rid of their guilt? So I am not familiar with Salma's writing. I see my good friend Laura Dave, by which I mean I'm a huge fan of hers, says this is her best book yet. Deeply human meditation on motherhood and being your own person and where they intersect. One of my favorite writers. So she is the author of Well-Behaved Indian Women, which was a Lily Singh book club, and What a Happy Family. Both have been optioned for film. Good for her. She's a psychiatrist, adjunct professor at Mount Sinai, and a frequent mental health contributor. Excellent. I'm intrigued. This one feels fun. This one feels very fun. There's some fun stuff happening this month. Then we have April 22nd. Let us get into one of my most anticipated books of the year. by the one and only Emily Henry. Great Big Beautiful Life. I about fell off my chair because I did get an e-arc of this just the other day. Very excited about it. I've already pre-ordered the book. I'm getting ready to pre-order People We Meet on Vacation, which is going to have a special edition in like October or August. I think I've talked about it already here. Anyway, huge fan of Emily Henry's, and off to the races we go. Another book about writers. I mean, you had me at Emily Henry. So 2 writers compete for the chance to tell the larger-than-life story of a woman with more than a couple of plot twists up her sleeve. Alice Scott is an eternal optimist, still dreaming of her big writing break. Hayden Anderson is a Pulitzer Prize-winning human thundercloud. And they're both on balmy Little Creek Island for the same reason. Little Crescent Island. That's where they are. They are on Little Crescent Island for the same reason. To write the biography of a woman no one has seen in years, or at least to meet with the octogenarian who claims to be the Margaret Ives. Tragic heiress, former tabloid princess, and daughter of one of the most storied and scandalous families of the 20th century. When Margaret invites them both for a 1-month trial period, after which she'll choose the person who will tell her story, there are 3 things keeping Alice's head in the game. 1, Alice genuinely likes people, which means usually people like Alice. She has a whole month to win this woman over. 2, she's ready for this job and the chance to impress her perennially unimpressed family with a serious publication. And 3, Hayden Anderson, who should have no reason to be concerned about losing this book, is glowering at her in a shaken-to-the-core way that suggests he sees her as competition. But the problem is Margaret is only giving each of them pieces of her story, pieces they can't swap to put together because of an ironclad NDA, and an inconvenient yearning pulsing between them every time they're in the same room. It's becoming abundantly clear that their story, just like the tale Margaret's spinning, could be a mystery, tragedy, or love ballad, depending on who is telling it. This is very interesting to me. I kind of feel like, imagine if 2 people were competing for Evelyn Hugo's story. It says there's an old saying about stories and how there are always 3 versions of them: yours, mine, and the truth. Honestly, I don't even care what she writes about. I'm going to read it, but put in writers and writers writing stories, and I'm in twice as much. So very excited for this one. I know I keep saying it, but stay tuned for when I read it, and I will let you know what I thought. I will let you know what I thought, but I'm excited. I'm excited for all of them. Stop saying it. This next book I heard about ages ago, I want to say, from Kate at Book Wild, and I feel like it might have even been a podcast she was doing with Hallie Sutton, but this is called 11%, and it's by Marin Uthag. I hope I'm not saying that wrong. I probably am. This is an inverse Handmaid's Tale that asks, what if women took over the world? I filmed my Q1 catch-up. I don't know if this is going to go up first or that one is. They're going to go up within a few days of each other, so there you have it. I am in the process of getting caught up on Handmaid's Tale on Hulu, so I'm in a very Gilead mind frame right now. So that kind of makes this one even more kind of up my alley, right? 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 What am I saying? It says, it is the new time, a time not so different from our own, except that the men are gone. All but 11% of them, that is. The minimum required to avoid inbreeding. But they are safely under lock and key in spa, centers for women's pleasure, trained by Amazons to fulfill all desires and procreation. A few women protest that the males should be treated better, more space, better food, but all agree that testosterone cannot be allowed to roam free. The old patriarchal cities are crumbling, becoming overgrown. People now live in round communities, but if you prefer the slum, that's okay too. Religion has survived, sort of. Women priestesses speak in tongues inspired by snake venom as apples are passed around to the congregation, but all social engineering has its costs. 4 different lives intersect. Medea, a tiny long-haired witch and snake whisperer. Wicca, a young priestess who's excelled at the self-pleasuring curriculum in school and has lost her pregnant lover. Eva, a doctor working in a spa center. And Silence, who lives in an almost abandoned convent. Each will discover the cracks in this women's paradise. So it says provocative, irreverent, and completely riveting. It is a #1 bestseller in Denmark and the first novel to appear in English by celebrated Danish author Maren Uthaug. Wild, electric, essential read. A feminist futurist fable. So for anyone who is watching The Handmaid's Tale and is looking for what if things were different, maybe this is the right book for you. We have another debut, and this is pitched as for fans of Anthony Horowitz and Lucy Foley. Done and done. A wonderfully original, genre-bending literary debut from Ireland that's an homage to the brilliant detective novels of the early 20th century. A twisty modern murder mystery. That's a lot. And a searing exploration of grief and loss. So we have a group of friends gather at an Airbnb on New Year's Eve. It's Benjamin's birthday, and his sister Abigail is throwing him a jazz-age murder mystery themed party. As the night plays out, champagne is drunk, hors d'oeuvres consumed, and relationships forged, consolidated or frayed. Bum bum. Someone kisses the wrong person, and someone else's heart is broken. In the morning, all of them wake up except Benjamin. No! As Abigail attempts to wrap her mind around her brother's death, an eminent detective arrives, determined to find Benjamin's killer. In this mansion, suddenly complete with a butler, gardener, and housekeeper, everyone is a suspect and nothing is quite as it seems. Will the culprit be revealed? And how can Abigail, now alone, piece herself back together in the wake of his loss? You can tell that I definitely choose some books just based on like the opening blurb, and I was like, a mystery of friend to Anthony Horowitz and Lucy Foley, done. I didn't even read the whole thing about it, so I'm very excited for this one. It looks fun. It kind of looks, I was gonna say it kind of looks like Clue, but I feel like it doesn't. I think I just have Clue on the brain. I don't know. It just looks like a good time. And wrapping it up with April 29th. Back to another debut, we have Julie Chan is Dead by Lian Zhang. Razor-sharp, diabolical debut thriller. A young woman steps into her deceased twins' influence her life, only to discover dark secrets hidden behind the social media facade. It's kind of similar to that other book that I like. I love it, I love it, I love it. Step into your twin's life. So Julie Chan has nothing. Her twin sister has everything except a pulse. This is going to be right up my alley too. Julie Chan is a supermarket cashier with nothing to lose, and she finds herself thrust into the glamorous yet perilous world of her late twin sister, Chloe Van Heusen, a popular influencer. Separated at a young age, the identical twins were polar opposites and rarely spoke, except for one viral video that Chloe initiated. Finding my long-lost twin and buying her a home, #emotional. Nice, Chloe. When Julie discovers Chloe's lifeless body under mysterious circumstances, she seizes the chance to live the life she's always envied. Oh God, I love you so much, Julie. Transforming into Chloe is easier than expected. Julie effortlessly adopts Chloe's luxurious influencer life, complete with designer clothes, a meticulous skincare routine, and millions of adoring followers. However, Julie soon realizes that Chloe's seemingly picture-perfect life was anything but. Haunted by Chloe's untimely death and struggling to fit into the privileged influencer circle, Julie faces mounting challenges during a week-long island retreat with Chloe's exclusive group of influencer friends. As events spiral out of control, Julie uncovers the sinister forces that may have led to her sister's demise and realizes she might be the next target. I'm so excited for this. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm just going to keep saying it. I also have an e-arc of this. It says it's perfect for fans of Bunny and Yellowface, two books that I desperately need to actually read instead of just talking about reading. So maybe this will push me in that direction. I feel like wouldn't that kind of be a fantasy to just like slip into somebody else's life? It reminds me of so many movies of like the mistaken identities and things like that. I'm up for it. I am absolutely up for it. Okay. We have a handful more to go. Thank you for bearing with me. You won't regret it. I promise. Another debut. This is Climbing in Heels by Elaine Goldsmith Thomas. And it is a fictional tale of the rise of three secretaries at the hottest agency in the 1980s Hollywood, giving you a glimpse into the Boys Will Be Boys Club and the women who wanted a seat at the table where they were expected to serve. It's the story of friendship, betrayal, survival, standing up when they pass you by and saying, I won't go when they want you gone. And it's also a story about how some of these women became very much like the monsters who trained them. Meet Beanie Rosen, the fast-talking and even faster-thinking Valley girl who knows where she wants to go and doesn't care if she doesn't look the part. Mercedes Baxter, who learned early on how to leverage the moneyed friends of her moneyed friends' parents until she found a foothold in Hollywood. And Ella Gaddy, a sexy, free-spirit anti-debutante from a white-glove Kentucky home who shakes up any room she walks into. So it says, read Climbing in Heels and watch these women meet, meld, fight, strategize, and climb their way into your heart. A rollicking tale of sex, drugs, and power in heels. So Elaine Goldsmith Thomas was a top agent at the William Morris Agency in the late 1980s and at ICM in the 90s. She represented many A-list actors, including Jennifer Lopez, Julia Roberts, Tim Robbins, and Madonna. Madonna. Was that like a Saturday Night Live thing? Madonna. I am very, very intrigued. So it says the heart of this book is gossip, agent politics and dirty dealings, actor name drops, affairs left and right, power and the power hungry. That's from Kirkus. I love the inside baseball of it all. I love the behind the curtain of it all. This one just sounds really, really fun. This sounds deliciously, deliciously fun. We have another sequel. This is How to Seal Your Own Fate by Kristen Perrin. This is part of the Castle Knoll files. So the first book in this series is How to Solve Your Own Murder. This is another book where I feel like I don't want to read too much because I don't want to spoil anything. But Annie Adams, who is our main character, is caught in a new web of murder that spans decades, returning to the idyllic English village that holds layers of secrets. I'm going to do the same thing I did with Geneva Rose. I'm going to read about the first book. So How to Solve Your Own Murder, which I need to read. It was pitched as for fans of Knives Out and Thursday Murder Club. So this is a mystery about a woman who spends her entire life trying to prevent her foretold murder, only to be proven right 60 years later when she is found dead in her sprawling country estate. In 1965, teenage Frances Adams is at an English country fair with her two best friends. But Frances's night takes a hairpin turn when a fortune teller makes a bone-chilling prediction that one day Frances will be murdered. So Frances spends a lifetime trying to solve a crime that hasn't happened yet, compiling dirt on every person who crosses her path in an effort to prevent her own demise. For decades, no one takes Frances seriously until nearly 60 years later she is found murdered like she always said she would be. So in present day, Annie Adams has been summoned to a meeting at the sprawling country estate of her wealthy and reclusive great-aunt Frances. By the time Annie arrives in the quaint village of Castle Knoll, Frances is already dead, and Annie is committed to finding the killer. So we're going to get some more Annie in book number 2, and we're all going to have to read it to find out, because I don't want to read anything about it. I don't want to risk a spoiler alert. So there you go. If you're ready for book number 2, there it is. And if you are not, you can check out book number 1. Well, I was going to say with me, but I'm not committing myself to reading anything anytime soon. You know me, mood reader. Okay, one more book. I also have an arc of it, or I have a book of it. So hold on. Also from Berkeley, it is an arc, just a physical arc this time. And this is Serial Killer Games by Kate Posey. And it says Temp, Marry, Kill. What would you do if you thought your coworker was getting away with murder, literally? Ugh, the way I would do things with people at work. Dolores de la Cruz has been dying to spot one in the wild, and he fits the mold perfectly. Strangler gloves, calculated charm, dashing good looks that give a leg up in any field, including fields of unmarked graves. The new office temp is definitely a serial killer. Jake Ripper finds a welcome distraction in his combative and enigmatic new coworker. He hasn't come across anyone as interesting as Dolores in a long time. But when mere curiosity evolves into a darkly romantic flirtation, Jake can't help but wonder if finally he's found someone who really sees him, skeletons in the closet and all. Until Dolores asks Jake for help to dispose of a body. Just love it. A morbidly funny and emotionally resonant novel about the ways life and love can sneak up on us no matter how much pepper spray we carry. This sounds so fun. I am here for it. I mean, I don't want to say I need this kind of excitement in my work life, because I kind of don't, but I kind of love it. I do feel like after all these years of true crime and murder mysteries and stuff, you definitely like a little sus of people, and you do have to think about if you needed help burying a body, who would you ask? So, I mean, fortunate name for him, Jake Ripper. You kind of sound like a serial killer. So we will find out what happens. Stay tuned for more on this one as well. So many good books, but like kind of a wild month, right? Like no real dark and messed up thriller. I'm sure Geneva Rose will be dark and messed up, but a little bit on the, I feel like there's going to be some darkness, but not all my typical darkness books. I don't know. Anyway, I'm very excited for this month. I'm really excited about how many, like I said, debut and new to me authors. It sounds like there's just so much great stuff coming out, and I was gonna say I'm gonna try and prioritize stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I never know what I'm gonna do. We're gonna figure it out as it goes. Still gonna try and work on some backlist. Still gonna be obsessed with some front list. And as I read things, you guys will find out about it. So stay tuned here. Gonna get myself back on that Instagram train with my reviews and keep chugging along. But let me know, what book are you most excited about this month? I'm so tempted to do a little bit of pre-ordering. I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of in a mood. And I was listening to Abby from Crime by the Book and Ashley Winstead were on Kate from Book Wild's channel. I will link this video below. I feel like I threatened to link a video in another video and I didn't link it. So anyway, but they were talking about the difference between book buying and book reading. And Abby talked about like mood buying, which I never thought of it that way. But just because you bought it doesn't mean you're going to read it right away. And I somehow felt more justified with, yeah, sometimes you're in the mood to buy it, but then you're ultimately not in the mood to read it. So it winds up on your shelf for longer than it should. They're also both dog ear people, which I love because I know people go berserk about the dog earring, but I feel very seen. Anyway, that's a sidebar. It's the first one. So look at me getting through an entire video with only one sidebar. Okay, I'm gonna go. This one's super long. Let me know books you're excited about. Have you read any of the books I talked about? Recommendations, all the fun things. Let me know down below. And I will see you with some book reviews coming up and a book haul. Haven't filmed it yet, but that's gonna be coming. And other than that, I don't know. We're gonna see which way the wind blows. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you when I see you. Bye, everybody.